Hi, welcome to Cathleen Cuisine. If you haven't figured it out, I'm Kathleen, and I'm going to be sharing a dish with you today that I think is an absolutely wonderful dish. It's called chicken cacciatore, and it's actually an Italian dish that really means hunter. And I'm preheating a Dutch oven here. And what's really great about a Dutch oven like this is that you can see that it has little divots, if you will. And what's great about that is as you're, if you put the lid on, all the moisture condenses on top and then it flows back into the food so that it evenly disperses through the food, which is something that I really like and really enjoy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by, I've got some onions, I've got some garlic, I've got this wonderful pancetta, and pancetta is a Italian bacon that it's probably one of the best bacons that you have. It's already been smoked and it's already been cured, and it fries up really nice and crispy. I've also have these wonderful baby bella mushrooms, and as you can see, they're cut to maybe about a ½ inch thick because we want it to be kind of meaty inside the stew that we're making. So I'm going to start by browning the onions. As you can see here, I don't have a fancy kitchen. I don't have an Emerald style kitchen. I don't have a Rachel Ray style kitchen. But it doesn't mean that you can't produce wonderful foods out of a small kitchen like this. Here, I'm actually taking the onions and I'm heating them. And what I want to do is I want to get them to about halfway to being opaque. And then what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and add the garlic in. If you add the garlic in too early while you're cooking, and it gets too hot, what happens is it browns and then it gets a really bittery taste and you lose all the wonderful flavors of what you're trying to get out of the garlic. So I'm kind of getting there in terms of you're about halfway being opaque, so I'm going to go ahead and add the garlic in. And I have here about three and a half cloves of garlic. In addition, the onions, by the way, it's just one onion that I put in there. So go ahead and stir that up really nice. I got them to be starting to get a little bit more opaque. And when I talk about opaque, what I'm talking about, as you can see, the onion goes from being a solid white color to being more kind of a pearly color on the inside. So and by the way, it's starting to smell wonderful. There's just nothing better than onions and garlic being fried up. So I'm going to go ahead and add the pancetta in. I have about 3 ounces, and I just went ahead and just chopped it all up. I'm going to go ahead and add that in. And this is when it starts to smell really good. You can't go wrong. I'm sure Emerald would agree with me with a dish that has tons of onions in it, tons of fried pork in it, and tons of garlic in it. So we're on a roll here to having a wonderful, wonderful chicken dish. By the way, chicken cacciatore is really interesting. It's not something that we find out here in California a lot. As a matter of fact, I think my first time I've had chicken cacciatore was out in Chicago. I had a roommate who was Italian, and his mother cooked chicken cacciatore for me, and I just was really amazed that it's such a wonderful dish, but it's not really popular here out in the West Coast. But it's one of the wonderful things about traveling is that you get to have so many different experiences with food, and something that I really enjoy. So we're looking pretty good here. You can see that our bacon's starting to get a little bit more crisper. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add the mushrooms in. And get those, probably going to cook it for just another few minutes. Wow, look at that. Incredible. The only thing I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and add some, just a little pinch of salt and pepper. I've already blended the salt and pepper in here so that it's easily accessible. And I love mushrooms. Mushrooms take up everything, all the surrounding flavors, and it brings it out, or actually pulls it in. And it's just such a great vegetable, if you will. Although technically a fungus. Okay. So that looks pretty good. I want to be conservative here and try and get everything I can out of one pot so I don't have to wash a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take all of this. I'm going to put this into a bowl here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same pot to go ahead and brown up the chicken. And then I'm going to put everything back in here. So got it all scraped out here. And I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more oil into the pot. It's nice and warm already, which is great. And put this aside here. And I'm going to start adding the chicken in. And I'm going to just do a few pieces at a time. If I try to do too many at one time, I'm not going to have great success. So I'll go ahead and I'll start with the breasts. Big chunky breasts. By the way, when you go to the store, you're able to get a whole chicken. By the way, this is the whole chicken that I've got here. You're able to get it pretty much cut up, although I think it's really important to not be afraid of cutting up your own chicken. The reason I say that is that you're going to have some point where you may want to get chicken or duck or pheasant or something, and it may not necessarily come all cut up the way that you want it to. And it's actually pretty easy to cut up a chicken, and I'll actually be able to show you how to do that maybe in another video. But what I'm doing here is I'm just taking these and frying each one up. Just brown, maybe just 2 or 3 minutes on each side. One thing I want to note when I do my meat, and this is probably not as important for this dish as it would be for like barbecue or whatever, but whenever I have this pie and the lobster, I try and get my meat down to room temperature. And the reason I do this is that if you take it out of the refrigerator and don't get it down to room temperature, you've got meat that's a lot colder on the inside, and then it's a lot warmer on the outside, and it's really hard to get a nice, even cook out of it. And so that's why sometimes with that meat, that gets a little bit dry when you're cooking it, because it doesn't have the ability to evenly heat itself through, because it's not sort of a fair way of heating things through. So this dish, like I said, it's not as important, because most of what we're going to be doing here is taking the meat and stewing it, so it's not as important, but it's just that it's set to design. Let me put some wine in here, okay? And let me just go ahead and cook that down a little bit. Get some nice flavor out of it. And I'm using Chardonnay only because that's what we had last night. I had some leftover, so I thought I might as well go ahead and use it. So what I like about the Chardonnay is it's actually going to take all the meats and juices from the bottoms of the pots, and it's going to kind of evaporate here and kind of hold all those flavors in. And what I've got here is I've got 2 cans of diced tomatoes. Tomatoes out of a can, it's winter time right now. It's much expected that you'll probably not be using many fresh tomatoes. So if you're going to use canned tomatoes, try to buy the best qualities that you can. It's not too expensive. It can really make your dish really delicious. So I'm going to go ahead and add the 2 cans of chopped tomatoes into there. And then, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and, this is brown sugar. I'm just going to add a little bit of brown sugar in there, just to, kind of a pinch, get it all in through there. This is cayenne pepper. Love cayenne pepper. I add it to whatever dishes I can, and just, do it to whatever taste. This is a pretty sizable dish, so it shouldn't be too much in terms of spiciness. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. I'm going to, got about a 1/3 cup of water here. I'm going to go ahead and add that into my dish here. Usually grow these. I have these in my backyard right now, but it's a little wily out there. I haven't gone out, but we've got fresh oregano and fresh thyme here. And I can tell you, if you were to ever grow 2 herbs that you will get your total's money worth. You'll get a ton of money out of your oregano and thyme because they grow like weeds, and so they're really good in pots and things like that as little accents to your flowers and things like that. So for today's purposes, I ended up buying my oregano and thyme, but you know, it's such an easy thing to grow in the garden versus basil or something like that, which the bugs can get to and stuff. The bugs do not get to this one here. So I'm going to try and, as hard as this is to do in here, I'm going to try and get this all kind of moved around a little bit here. Oh, and one other thing I want to make sure that I add in here is I want to, oops, sorry about that. I'm going to add a bay leaf in here as well. So let me go ahead and grab one. And as it starts to cook down, I'll just probably go and check in on it and move it around. I'm going to go ahead and add my onion mixture back in and my mushroom mixture back in. And then I'm going to put it, and what I would do is I want to bring it to a boil first, and then I'm just going to put it on low, and then I'm going to go ahead and cook it for about, probably about 25 minutes or so. And again, I have this really wonderful Dutch oven, and this particular Dutch oven is great because it's iron, and I love the old iron pots where you season them and they have years and years of just flavors sealed into the pots. I know they make these wonderful crusette ones, which I think are absolutely fantastic as well, but there's something about iron that it's just kind of old-fashioned and old school, and since we're making a hunter's chicken, I thought it appropriate one to use. So let me go ahead and seal that off, and we'll check back in 25 minutes and see what we've got here. In the meantime, while this is cooking, I'm also going to put a pot of rice on, just a little chicken broth and a little rice, a little rice, and cook it up till it's nice and fluffy, and we'll come back and check in and see how it is, okay? We're back, and we're ready to see what our final product looks like, so let's see what it looks like. I'm going to pull this off here, and oh wow, doesn't that look delicious? Look at all that bubbling, and if you can only smell how delicious it smells. So what I'm going to do, I've kind of reduced that sauce down a little bit, so I'm actually just going to pull the chicken out right now. And let me see if I can, excuse me here, grab some tongs here, and let's just pull the meat out and see if we can't reduce this down a little bit more. Oops. We can move here. Oh, those are just, oh, the meat is almost falling off the bone, just the way I remember it. So we got the breast coming out here, and I think I could scoop the rest out here. All right. So you're going to find some remnants of the herbs that we put in there. You can go ahead and pull those out. You certainly don't want to serve them in your dish. On this other pot here, I boiled down some rice, and I just used, like I said, a little chicken broth, and so we're going to go ahead and pour that into our plate here. And we're going to go from there, see where it goes. Look at that. Look at how rich and red that broth is in here. And we're going to, like I said, try and boil that down just a little bit. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and grab some wine, see if I can't move that along a little bit faster to boil down. So since I started with white wine, I'm going to continue on with white wine. You can see I'm putting the heat up a little bit higher here. Just add a little bit more wine there. Get it to boiling. Let's get it to reduce, and then what will happen is it reduces, it'll thicken up a little bit. While it's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and start putting some rice on the plate here. Look at how light and fluffy that rice is. This is your typical long grain white rice, nothing special. So, give it a little fluff here, and get it going. Can you hear that bubbling? You try and work that down. Okay. So you might want to put a little dollop of butter on the rice. I don't think it needs it because we've got the nice chicken broth and we're going to get such wonderful flavors out of this sauce here. We'll go ahead and add a couple pieces of meat here. We'll do a piece of a little bit of a, oops, that's all falling off the bone there, isn't it? That's delicious. We'll do a nice thigh, and we'll do a nice breast here. Okay, oh, that looks amazing. And then, there we go. See how it's thickening up there? Looks amazing. And all I need is a spatula. There you go. And turn it off now. Get some of this nice broth onto my meat here. There we go. That does not look amazing. Oh, and that rice is going to catch up all that nice sauce there. Let me go ahead and clean this up a bit here. And for a garnish, you can use a little bit of thyme on the edges. I'll use a little bit of both here. There we go. Move it over here. And voila. And I think what would be really nice, let me go ahead and put this over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually serve this up with some, this Apothic Red. This is actually a gallon wine, and it was rated very highly for its affordability. So because it's a chicken dish, we don't want too much of a fully robust wine. So this was a really nice choice because it has some nice sort of chocolatey flavors to it, but a little bit more of a sweetness, and it's a lot lighter because it is a blend, so it's not going to have such boldness as you're going to have with something like a Cabernet. So between this red wine, this amazing chicken cacciatore, I think we're going to have a really, really good night. By the way, this is the first time I've done this sort of video. I'm really glad that you're able to watch it. I hope you try my recipe and check back again. We're going to try and do this every week and see if we can't inspire you to have some fun and do some amazing cooking. Have a good night.